Hi, I recently had the chance to address some African delegates under the theme Owning the Future, how to turn opportunities into sustainable tools of empowerment. When my mother had me, she was 18 years old. When her mother had her, she was 19 years old. That is how poverty works, isn't it? It's this vicious cycle that is often too hard to break. So because my mother had a baby at a young age, she was never able to complete school. She never got access to a job in order to take care of me and raise me. And she made some poor decisions along the way, got involved with the wrong crowd, right up until she passed away. Many of us know of somebody like my mother, but few of us know of somebody who has managed to beat the odds and succeed. I don't know about you, but I think it's a damning indictment on us as humanity that we have normalized writing people off because of mistakes they have made, instead of us giving each other not a hand out, but a hand up. Now, many of you probably agree with these sentiments, but how many of us actually act on this? Access to opportunities should not be something to be enjoyed by the privileged few, nor should it be just a theoretical principle. Africa needs practical and implementable ideas and solutions. And by this, I'm not talking the big art of touch ideas politicians come up with in portfolio committees or nicely worded documents that tell us how to achieve progress in 20 years' time. I'm talking about a whole of society approach where communities own their futures and are responsible for determining their own outcomes. I often wonder how different life could have been for my mother had she lived in a time and place where her community was invested in her future. And so when I was talking to these delegates, I used South Africa as an example of how we can use opportunities to empower people in a sustainable way. So a few months ago, I was involved in a study as part of my parliamentary work that looked into how to make community work programs sustainable tools of empowerment. For those of you who don't know, a community work program is a government initiative aimed at tackling unemployment and poverty. Participants of this program will typically work 2 days a week, that's 8 days a month, doing anything from working in a community garden to refurbishing vandalized property to painting a school, anything that needs to be done in their ward. And at the end of the month, they'll receive a stipend from government. But that is where it ends. And therein lies the problem. So my government from KZN has spent about 200 million on this program, reaching only about 30,000 people. Not very sustainable, is it? So I took it upon myself to make some recommendations on how to make this work more sustainably and to maximize the impact, or rather the potential impact of this kind of program. First of all, it became clear to me that education had to be the bedrock of this kind of program. Many of the participants in this program are uneducated and they use the stipend they receive to supplement other grants they receive from government. Through our engagements, they told us how they'd like to move from a position where they are perpetually dependent on the state to a position where they are self-sufficient and can contribute to the formal economy. I therefore made recommendations that government needs to formalize the structure of CWPs by making sure that participants can be trained and credited for work they do in these programs, in their wards, resulting in a formal qualification at the end. Government can work together with tertiary institutions and satellite campuses in the communities or close to the communities to achieve this. There are so many potential spin-offs of doing this. For example, government can also prioritize adults who are illiterate by making use of the ABET, Adult Basic Education and Training Program. This would hopefully also have a ripple effect and encourage children from these communities to have a culture of learning and a love of education. Research does tell us that children who come from homes where both or even one parent is uneducated are most unlikely to complete education themselves. This is but one way of how we can identify opportunities wherever we are, big or small, and to use these to empower people, but to do so sustainably. This is what I challenged the other delegates to do, and this is what I'm challenging all of you to do. When we are talking about opportunities, we should imagine an Africa that moves itself from seeing itself as perpetual victims of colonization to becoming agents of our own change. I don't know about you, but I'm very excited about our future, and I want the whole world to know that Africa is on the move and that Africa's best days are ahead of us. Thank you.